The red lights were flashing everywhere. Captain Taeyang Kim looked at the screens in front of him. Every screen showed bad news. The ship was dying. He could feel it in his bones. The engines were making strange sounds. The walls were shaking. Something was very wrong. Taeyang had been a ship captain for many years. He knew ships. He knew when they were sick. And right now his ship was more than sick. It was dying. The reactor at the heart of the ship was breaking. When it finally broke completely, the ship would explode. Everyone on board would die. He pressed a button on his chair. His voice went to every room in the ship. "This is the captain. All crew members come to the bridge, now." His voice was calm. He did not want anyone to panic. But inside his heart was beating fast. He knew they were in terrible danger. The bridge door opened. Ji-woo Park ran inside. She was the chief engineer. Her job was to keep the engines working. But now her face was white with fear. Her hands were shaking. "Captain," she said, "the reactor is gone. I cannot fix it. We have maybe 4 hours, maybe less. Then it will explode." Taeyang closed his eyes for a moment. 4 hours. 4 hours to live. He opened his eyes and looked at his crew. More people were coming onto the bridge now. Hyo-rin Lee, his first officer, stood next to him. Song-min Choi, who ran the communications, was at his station. Bora Kang, another engineer, stood by the door. They all looked scared. "Everyone listen," Taeyang said. "The reactor is failing. We cannot fix it. We have to leave the ship. Get to the escape pods. We launch in 30 minutes. He paused. "Send out a distress signal. Put it on all frequencies. Maybe someone will hear us." Hyo-rin looked at him. Her eyes were sad. "Captain, you know where we are. We are in the dead zone. No one comes here. The Galactic Council does not patrol this area. It is too far from everything. Even pirates avoid this place. There is nothing here but empty space." She was right. Taeyang knew she was right. Their ship, the Stellar Compass, was a small trading ship. They carried mining equipment to colonies far away. They had been traveling for weeks. Now they were in the worst possible place. They were between star systems, between civilizations, in a place where no one ever came. "The escape pods only have air for 3 days," Hyo-rin continued. Her voice was quiet. "Even if someone hears the distress signal, they cannot get here in time. We will run out of air before help arrives." Taeyang looked at his crew. 23 people. 23 lives, all depending on him. He wanted to tell them everything would be okay. But he could not lie to them. They deserved the truth. "Then we die trying to survive," he said. "We do not give up. We do not wait here to be blown up. We get in those pods. We send that signal. And we hope. That is all we can do. Hope." The crew looked at each other. No one spoke. What could they say? They all knew the truth. This was the end. But Taeyang was right. They could not just sit and wait to die. They had to try. "Sung-min," Taeyang said, "send the distress signal. Include everything. Our position, our situation, how many crew members we have, everything." Sung-min nodded. His fingers flew over his console. "Signal is going out now, Captain. I'm broadcasting on every frequency I know. If anyone is listening, they will hear us." "Good," Taeyang said. "Everyone else go to the escape pods. Take only what you need. We launch in 25 minutes, move." The crew rushed out of the bridge. Taeyang could hear them running through the corridors. He could hear their voices, scared but trying to be brave. He stayed on the bridge. He would be the last to leave. That was what a captain did. Ji-woo stayed behind too. She looked at him. "Captain, I am sorry. I should have seen this coming. I should have caught the problem earlier." Taeyang shook his head. "This is not your fault, Ji-woo. Sometimes things just break. Sometimes there is nothing we can do." He put a hand on her shoulder. "Go get to your pod. I will see you soon." She nodded and left. Now Taeyang was alone on the bridge. He looked at the screens one last time. The ship was dying faster now. Red lights everywhere. Alarms screaming. The reactor was close to exploding. Maybe they did not even have 4 hours. Maybe they had less. He looked out the window at the stars. So many stars. Billions of them. And somewhere out there people were living their lives. People were safe and warm. They did not know that right here, right now, 23 people were about to die. The distress signal was going out. It was traveling through space at the speed of light. It was calling for help, but space was so big, so empty. The signal would travel for years before it reached anyone. And by then, they would all be dead. their bodies frozen in the escape pods floating forever in the darkness. Tae-Yang thought about his family, his wife back home, his 2 children. They would never know what happened to him. The company would just tell them the ship was lost. Another accident in deep space. It happened sometimes. Ships disappeared. Crews never came home. He shook his head. No, he could not think like that. He had to stay strong. For his crew, they needed him to be strong. His communicator beeped. It was Hyo-Rin. Captain, everyone is in the pods. We are ready to launch. Where are you? Coming now, he said. He took one last look at the bridge. This had been his home for 3 years. He knew every button, every screen, every corner, and now he would never see it again. He walked to the escape pod bay. The corridor was empty now. The lights were flickering. The ship was shaking more violently. It did not have much time left. He reached his escape pod. Hyo-Rin was waiting for him. Everyone is sealed in their pods, Captain. Waiting for your order. Tae-Yang climbed into his pod. He sat down and strapped himself in. The pod was small, just enough room for 1 person. It had basic life support, food for a week, water, and air for 3 days. After that, nothing. He pressed the launch button. All pods, this is the captain. Launch now. Stay together, and good luck. The pod shot out of the ship. Tae-Yang felt the acceleration push him back into his seat. Through the small window, he could see the other pods launching. 13 small pods floating in space, all that was left of his ship and crew. Behind them, the stellar compass hung in space. Dark. Dead. Just a shell now. And inside that shell, a reactor about to explode. Tae-Yang watched his ship. The ship he had commanded. The ship he had loved. He watched it grow smaller as the pods drifted away. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the distress signal kept broadcasting, over and over. A cry for help that no one would hear. Or so they all believed. Because in the vast emptiness of space, something was listening. Something was moving. Something was coming. But Tae-Yang and his crew did not know that yet. They floated in their pods in the darkness waiting to die. They had given up hope. They did not know that hope was already on its way. The escape pods floated in space like leaves on a dark ocean. Inside Pod 1, Captain Tae-Yang Kim stared at the screens. His pod was small and cramped. The air smelled stale already. He tried not to think about how little time they had left. Next to him, Hyo-Rin checked the life support systems. She did not look at him when she spoke. We have 68 hours of air left. A little less than 3 days. Her voice was flat, empty, like she had already accepted their fate. Tae-Yang wanted to say something hopeful, something to make her feel better. But what could he say? They both knew the truth. In 3 days they would suffocate. The air would run out and they would slowly fall asleep. And never wake up. Behind them, through the small window, he could still see the stellar compass. The ship was completely dark now, dead. Any moment the reactor would explode. He wondered if they would be far enough away. Would the explosion reach them? Maybe that would be better than slowly running out of air. Suddenly, Sungmin's voice came through the pod communication system. He sounded excited, confused. Captain! Captain, are you there? Tae-Yang pressed the button. I am here, Sungmin. What is it? Captain, my scanners are picking up something. A ship, a big ship, and it is coming toward us, fast. Tae-Yang felt his heart jump. A ship here? Are you sure? Check again. There should be no ships in this area. I am sure, Captain. It is 3 million kilometers away, and closing fast, very fast. Captain, the speed readings do not make sense. This ship is moving faster than any trading vessel, faster than any transport. This is a military ship. Military? Tae-Yang felt a cold fear in his stomach. Military ships did not come to this region, unless they were pirates. And if pirates found them, they would take everything. The escape pods, the supplies, maybe even the crew to sell as slaves. Can you identify the ship? He asked. What species? Galactic Council? Relian Cortex? A long silence. Then Sungmin spoke again. His voice was strange, confused. Captain, the ship design does not match anything in my database. It is not Council. Not any species I know. Wait, they are hailing us. Put it through, Tae-Yang said. His hand was shaking as he pressed the communication button. Static filled the pod. Then a voice came through. It spoke Galactic Common but with a strange accent. a heavy, rough accent that Tae-yang had never heard before. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Alliance Navy destroyer Indomitable. We received your distress signal. Hold your position. We are coming to get you. Help is on the way." Tae-yang stared at the speaker. He could not speak. He could not move. Earth Alliance humans? Hyo-rin looked at him, her eyes wide. Did she say humans? Tae-yang had heard of humans, of course. Everyone had. They were a new species in the galaxy. They had only discovered faster-than-light travel about 20 years ago. They were from a small planet called Earth, far away from the main trade routes. Most species in the Galactic Council thought humans were weak, primitive. Their technology was old. Their ships were slow. Their weapons were simple. Some species laughed at them. Others ignored them completely, but here they were, in the middle of nowhere, where no council ship would dare to come. Tae-yang found his voice. "Commander Chen, this is Captain Tae-yang Kim of the trading vessel Stellar Compass. Our reactor is critical. It will explode very soon. We are in escape pods. We have 23 crew members." "Understood, Captain Kim," the human commander replied. Her voice was calm, professional, like this was just another day at work. "We will reach you in 15 minutes. Prepare for pickup. Do not worry. We will get everyone." "Chen out." The communication went silent. Tae-yang looked at Hyo-rin. She looked back at him. Neither of them knew what to say. "They came," Hyo-rin whispered. "Someone actually came. Humans came," Tae-yang said. He still could not believe it. "In the dead zone, where no one else will go. Humans came." Bora's voice came over the communication system now. She was young and she sounded scared but hopeful. "Captain, is it true? Are we really being rescued?" "Yes, Bora," Tae-yang said. "A human warship is coming. They will be here soon. Tell everyone to stay calm. Stay in your pods. Help is coming." He could hear the relief in the voices that responded. People were crying, laughing. They had thought they were going to die, and now suddenly there was hope. Tae-yang looked at his scanner. He could see the ship now. It was getting closer, very fast, much faster than any ship he had ever seen. And then he saw it, really saw it. The human warship came out of the darkness like a mountain. It was huge, massive, bigger than any council cruiser he had ever seen, and it looked nothing like a council ship. Council ships were smooth and elegant. They were built to look beautiful, like works of art flying through space. The human ship was not beautiful. It was brutal. It was covered in thick armor plates. Weapons stuck out from every angle. Scars and burn marks covered its hull, showing where it had been in battles. This was not a ship made to look pretty. This was a ship made to fight, to survive, to win. By the stars, Hyo-rin breathed. "Look at that thing." The warship was 2 kilometers long, maybe more. Its name was painted on the side in white letters. Indomitable. Even the name sounded strong. Unbreakable. Tae-yang had never seen anything like it. Council ships looked weak compared to this. This ship looked like it had been through hell and come out stronger. Small craft began launching from the warship. Shuttles, sleek and fast. They moved toward the escape pods with perfect coordination. Military precision. These were not civilian pilots. These were trained warriors. One shuttle approached Pod 1. Tae-yang heard a clang as it connected. The pod shook slightly. Then a voice came through the speaker. "Pod 1, this is Rescue Shuttle Alpha. We have you secured. Bringing you in now. Sit tight, folks. You are safe now." Safe. Tae-yang felt tears in his eyes. They were safe. Against all odds, against all logic, they were safe. The shuttle pulled the pod toward the massive warship. Through the window, Tae-yang could see the hangar bay opening. Lights spilled out into the darkness. Inside, he could see rows of fighter craft, Marines in armor, engineers with tools. Everything was organized, ready, professional. The pod was pulled inside the hangar. Tae-yang felt it settle onto the deck with a soft thud. The hangar was huge, big enough to hold dozens of ships, and it was bustling with activity. Human crew members were everywhere, working with focused intensity. The pod door opened with a hiss. Tae-yang unbuckled himself and stood on shaky legs. He stepped out of the pod onto the deck of the human warship. A human woman in a blue uniform walked toward him. She was not very tall, but she carried herself with confidence, authority. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent. She smiled and extended her hand. "Captain Kim, Commander Sarah Chen, welcome aboard the Indomitable. Tae-Yang took her hand. Humans shook hands as a greeting. He had learned that. Her grip was firm and warm. "Commander Chen," he said. His voice was thick with emotion. "Thank you. You saved our lives," she smiled. "Just doing our job, Captain. Now let us get your crew checked out and settled. You have had a rough day." Tae-Yang looked around at the organized chaos. Human medics were checking the other crew members as they emerged from their pods. Engineers were examining the pods themselves. Marines stood watch. Everything was running smoothly, like they did this every day, and then the alarms started blaring. A voice echoed through the hangar. "Alert! Hostile ships detected. 6 vessels approaching at attack speed. All hands to battle stations." Tae-Yang's blood ran cold. Pirates. The pirates had found them. The change in Commander Chen was instant. One moment she was friendly and welcoming. The next moment her face became hard as stone. Her eyes turned cold. This was a warrior preparing for battle. She tapped the communication device on her wrist. "Bridge, this is Chen. I am coming up now. Raise shields. Charge weapons. But do not fire unless they fire first. Do you understand?" A voice crackled back. "Understood, Commander. Shields are up. Weapons are hot. Waiting for your orders." Chen turned to Tae-Yang. Her voice was still professional but urgent now. "Captain Kim, I need you and your crew to stay here in the hangar. My Marines will protect you. Do not leave this area. Understand?" Tae-Yang nodded. He felt helpless. His crew had just been saved, and now they were in danger again. "Commander, those pirates came because of our distress signal. They were waiting for us to abandon ship. This is our fault." Chen looked at him. For just a moment, something like anger flashed in her eyes, but not anger at him, anger at the pirates. "This is not your fault, Captain. Pirates who prey on distress signals are the worst kind of cowards. They will learn that today." She turned and walked quickly toward the exit. Her boots made sharp sounds on the metal deck. Marines saluted as she passed. She did not slow down. Hyorin came to stand next to Tae-Yang. She looked worried. "Captain, there are 6 pirate ships out there. 6 against 1. Can they win?" Tae-Yang did not know. He had never seen humans fight. No one he knew had ever seen humans fight. Humans were new to the galaxy. They were supposed to be weak, primitive. Their weapons were supposed to be outdated, their tactics simple. But looking at this ship, at the organized crew, at the disciplined Marines, he was not so sure anymore. One of the human crew members activated a large screen on the hangar wall. It showed the view from the ship's bridge. Tae-Yang and his crew gathered around to watch. The bridge was impressive. It was not fancy or decorated like council ships. It was purely functional. Every station had a purpose. Every person knew their job. Commander Chen entered and sat in the command chair at the center. "Status report," she said calmly. A young officer at the tactical station responded. 6 hostile vessels confirmed, Commander. Mixed classes. They are using stolen council technology and Vrelian weapons. Lead ship is hailing us. "Put them through," Chen ordered. The main view screen flickered. A face appeared. It was a Korthax, a species known for their violence. This one had scars across his face. His eyes were yellow and cruel. His mouth was full of sharp teeth. The pirate spoke in broken galactic common. His voice was rough and mocking. "Human ship. You are in our territory. The prey you picked up belongs to us. Give them to us. Give us their pods and supplies. Then you can leave. You have 1 minute to decide." Chen did not even blink. Her voice was ice cold. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Alliance Navy. The crew you are referring to is under our protection. You are the ones who have 1 minute. Turn around and leave this sector. If you do not, you will be treated as hostile combatants. Your choice." The pirate's eyes widened. Then he started laughing. A horrible, rasping laugh. "1 human ship against 6? You monkeys should have stayed on your little planet. Your species is weak. Your technology is ancient. You cannot win. Surrender or die." Chen's expression did not change. "Your funeral. Chen out." She made a gesture and the communication cut off. The pirate's face disappeared from the screen. In the hangar, Tae-Yang felt his stomach twist. The pirates were attacking. 6 ships. The human commander had just challenged 6 pirate ships. Bora grabbed his arm. She was shaking. "We are going to die. They saved us just so we could die anyway." But Tae-Yang was watching the human crew on the screen. They were not panicking. They were not scared. They were working, calmly, efficiently, like this was just another day. On the screen, the tactical officer spoke. Pirates are breaking formation, moving to attack pattern. They are charging weapons. Maintain defensive posture, Chen said. Let them fire first. I want everyone to see who started this. The pirate ships spread out. They were trying to surround the Indomitable. It was a classic pirate tactic. Attack from all sides at once. Overwhelm the target. Then the pirates opened fire. Plasma bolts streaked through space. Missiles launched. All 6 ships fired at once, trying to destroy the human warship with one massive attack, and the Indomitable moved. Tai Yang had never seen a ship that big move so fast. The massive warship rotated with impossible grace. Its point defense systems came alive. Thousands of small guns opened fire, creating a wall of bullets in space. The missiles exploded before they could reach the ship. The plasma bolts hit invisible shields and dispersed into nothing. Not a single attack got through. On the bridge, Chen's voice was calm. They fired first. Everyone saw it. Weapons free. Target their engines only. I want them disabled, not destroyed. Make it clean. Yes, Commander, the tactical officer replied. What happened next was not a battle. It was a lesson. The Indomitable's main guns fired. They were railguns, weapons that used magnetic force to shoot metal projectiles at incredible speed. The sound they made, even in the vacuum of space, was transmitted through the ship's hull. A deep, resonating boom. The first pirate ship's engines exploded. The ship went spinning out of control, completely powerless. No explosions, no deaths, just a perfectly disabled vessel. The Indomitable rotated again. Its guns fired. Another pirate ship lost its engines, then another. The human warship moved through the pirate formation like a knife through paper. The pirates tried to run. They turned and burned their engines at maximum power, trying to escape. But the Indomitable was faster. Its missiles launched, streaking through space with unerring accuracy. 3 minutes. That was all it took. 3 minutes, and all 6 pirate ships were floating dead in space. Their engines destroyed. Their weapons offline. Their crews alive but helpless. The hangar was completely silent. Tai Yang and his crew stared at the screen. They could not believe what they had just seen. 6 ships, defeated in 3 minutes, and not a single pirate killed. The humans had not just won. They had won with such overwhelming force that the pirates never had a chance. And they had done it without unnecessary killing. On the bridge, Commander Chen opened a communication channel to the disabled pirate ships. Her voice was cold and professional. Attention, pirate vessels. You are now adrift in monitored space. Galactic Council patrols will arrive within 6 hours to arrest you. I suggest you use that time to think about your life choices. If I ever encounter you again preying on innocent people, I will not be so merciful. Shen out. She closed the channel and stood up. Stand down from battle stations. Resume normal operations. Send the coordinates of these pirates to Council authorities. Let them deal with the cleanup. Hyorin's voice was barely a whisper. 3 minutes. 6 ships in 3 minutes. Sungmin was staring at the screen with wide eyes. And they held back. They could have destroyed those ships completely. They chose not to. They just disabled them. Jiwoo shook her head slowly. The Council says humans are primitive, that their technology is old, that they are not a threat. Taeyang understood now. The galaxy had made a mistake. A terrible mistake. They had looked at humanity and seen weakness, but they had been wrong. Humanity was not weak. They were controlled, disciplined, efficient, and when they fought with a precision and power that was terrifying. Commander Chen walked back into the hangar. She looked at Taeyang and his crew. Her expression softened slightly. Sorry about that interruption, Captain Kim. Now let us get you and your crew properly settled. You must be exhausted. She said it so casually, like she had just dealt with a minor inconvenience. Like she had not just defeated 6 pirate ships in less time than it took to make a cup of tea. Taeyang realized something important. This was normal for them. This was what humans did. They patrolled the dangerous areas. They answered distress calls. They fought pirates, and they made it look easy. The galaxy had been wrong about humanity. Very wrong. And Taeyang was beginning to understand why pirates avoided human space. The human crew gave them quarters on Deck 7. The rooms were small but clean and comfortable. Much better than the escape pods. Taeyang had a room to himself as captain. The rest of his crew shared quarters in pairs. A young human medic came to check on each crew member. She was friendly and professional. She scanned them for injuries, gave them clean clothes, and showed them where the bathroom and dining hall were. "Commander Chen wants you to rest," the medic said. "You have been through a lot. Get some sleep. Eat something. We will reach Vega Prime Station in 2 days. You will be safe there." Tae-Yang thanked her and went to his room. It was tiny, just a bed, a small desk, and a locker. But it had a window. A real window looking out into space. He sat on the bed and stared out at the stars. He was alive. His crew was alive. They should all be dead right now, their bodies frozen in escape pods, drifting forever through empty space. But they were not. They were safe on a human warship. He thought about what he had seen, the way the Indomitable had fought. The precision, the control, the overwhelming power, and the mercy. The humans could have destroyed those pirate ships. They could have killed everyone, but they had not. They had just disabled them, left them for the authorities. That said something about humanity. Something important. There was a knock on his door. Tae-Yang stood and opened it. Commander Chen stood there holding 2 cups of something steaming. "Coffee," she said, offering him 1 cup. "Human drink. Very strong. Thought you might need it." Tae-Yang took the cup. The liquid inside was dark brown, almost black. It smelled bitter but not unpleasant. He took a small sip. It was hot and strong with a sharp taste, but good, warming. "Thank you," he said. "Would you like to come in?" Chen nodded and entered. She sat at the small desk. Tae-Yang sat on the bed. For a moment, they just drank their coffee in comfortable silence. Finally, Tae-Yang spoke. "Commander, I have to ask, what were you doing out there? This region is hundreds of light years from Earth. The Galactic Council does not patrol here because it is too dangerous, too far from everything. Why are humans here?" Chen took a sip of her coffee. She looked out the window at the stars. "Because someone needs to be," she said simply. Tae-Yang waited. He knew there was more. Chen continued. "My species has a difficult history, Captain. For thousands of years we fought each other. Wars, terrible wars. We killed millions of our own people. We almost destroyed our entire planet. Multiple times." She paused, her expression distant. "But we learned from it. We learned that strength without compassion is just cruelty. We learned that technology without morality is just a weapon. And we learned that the strong have a duty to protect the weak. When we finally reached the stars and met the Galactic Council, we were excited," she said. "Here were species millions of years old, with technology far beyond ours, with wisdom we could only dream of. We thought we would learn so much from them." She looked at Tae-Yang. "And we did learn, but not what we expected. We learned that age does not equal wisdom. We learned that advanced technology does not make you advanced as people. We learned that the Council is old and tired and has forgotten what it means to care." Tae-Yang felt uncomfortable. He was part of the Council's civilization. He had grown up believing the Council was the peak of galactic society, but Chen was not done. The Council patrols its trade routes. It protects its wealthy worlds. It maintains its power and its profits. But out here, she gestured at the window. Out here where there is no profit, where there is no power, where there are just people who need help, the Council does not care. So humanity decided to care, Tae-Yang said quietly. Yes, Chen said. The Earth Alliance maintains permanent patrol fleets in the frontier regions. We monitor distress beacons. We respond to emergencies. We deal with pirates and raiders. The Council calls it a waste of resources. They say we should focus on building our economy, on developing our worlds. She finished her coffee and set the cup down. But we do not see it that way. We see it as basic decency. If someone is in trouble, someone should help them. It is that simple. Tae-Yang looked at this human commander. She was not very tall. She did not look particularly strong. But there was steel in her. A core of iron will and unshakable principle. Your species is remarkable, he said. The Council thinks humans are primitive, backward, too aggressive and too emotional. They do not take you seriously. Chen smiled slightly. I know what the Council thinks of us. And honestly, I do not care. We do not do this for recognition or respect. We do it because it is right. But they are wrong about you, Tae-Yang said. I saw how your ship fought. That was not primitive. That was not backward. That was the most advanced combat I have ever seen. Chen shrugged. Our technology is different. The Council species developed in peace, mostly. They had time. They could focus on art and science and philosophy. We did not have that luxury. We developed in constant war. Every human invention was forged in conflict. Our technology evolved to survive, to fight, to endure. She stood up. The Council has better energy shields, better faster than light drives, better computers. But we have better weapons, better armor, better tactics. Because we had to. We learned the hard way. Taeyang stood too. Commander, when I return home, I am going to tell people about this. About what I saw. About the human ship that came when no one else would. About the crew that risked everything for strangers. Chen looked at him seriously. Tell them the truth, Captain, all of it. Tell them that humans do not do this for glory or profit. Tell them we do it because when someone sends a distress signal, someone should answer. No matter how far away, no matter how dangerous, someone should always answer. She extended her hand. Taeyang shook it. Get some rest, Captain. You are safe now. I promise. She left, closing the door quietly behind her. Taeyang sat back down on the bed. He looked out at the stars. He thought about everything Chen had said. About humanity's bloody history. About their decision to be better. About their choice to help others even when it cost them. The Galactic Council was ancient, powerful, advanced. But it had grown comfortable, complacent. It had forgotten the simple truth that Chen had spoken. If someone needs help, someone should help them. Humanity had only been in space for 20 years. They were newcomers, children compared to the ancient council races. But they remembered something the old races had forgotten. They remembered compassion, duty, sacrifice, and that made them dangerous. Not because of their weapons or their ships, but because of their ideals. Because they represented something the galaxy had lost. Taeyang finished his coffee. It was cold now, but he did not mind. He thought about what he would say when he got home, how he would tell this story. The galaxy needed to know the truth about humanity, not the primitive warmongers the Council whispered about, but the principled warriors who answered distress calls in dead space. The people who defended those who could not defend themselves. He lay down on the bed. For the first time in days, he felt safe, really safe. Not just physically protected, but cared for. The humans had not just saved their lives. They had given them hope. As he drifted off to sleep, his last thought was about Commander Chen's words. Someone should always answer. In a galaxy that had grown cold with age, that simple idea was revolutionary, and humanity was showing the way. 2 days passed quickly. Taeyang and his crew spent their time resting, eating in the human dining hall and walking through the parts of the ship they were allowed to visit. The human crew was friendly but professional. They treated the rescued crew with respect and kindness. Taeyang spent hours watching the humans work. They were always busy, always moving with purpose. There was no wasted effort, no unnecessary talk. Everyone knew their job and did it well. He noticed something else too. The humans smiled a lot. They joked with each other. They laughed. But when the alarms went off for a drill, they became instantly serious, professional, ready for anything. It was a balance he had never seen before. They could be relaxed and friendly, but also disciplined and deadly. Two sides of the same coin. On the morning of the third day, Commander Chen called Taeyang to the observation deck. He found her standing by the large window looking out at a huge space station in the distance. Vega Prime Station, she said, one of the largest trading hubs in this sector. Your company has already arranged for a transport ship to pick you up. It will arrive this afternoon. Taeyang felt mixed emotions. He was happy to be going home. But he was also sad to leave. In just 3 days he had come to respect these humans deeply. Commander, he said, I do not know how to thank you properly. You and your crew saved our lives. You asked for nothing in return. This is not how the galaxy usually works. Chen smiled. You do not owe us anything, Captain. We did what anyone should do. We answered a call for help. But not everyone does, Taeyang said. The Galactic Council would not have come. They would have said it was too far. Too expensive. Not worth the risk. But you came. Chen looked out at the station. The Council is old, Captain, very old. They have seen empires rise and fall. They have watched civilizations come and go. After so many millions of years, I think they have become numb to suffering. They see it as just another statistic. She turned to face him. But humanity is young. We still remember what it feels like to suffer. We still remember what it feels like to be helpless. And we refuse to let that make us cold. We refuse to become like the council, Taeyang nodded slowly. When I get home, I'm going to tell everyone about this. About the human warship that came from nowhere to save us. About the crew that risked their lives for complete strangers. People need to know the truth about humanity. What truth is that? Chen asked. That you are not primitive, Taeyang said. Not backward, not weak. That you are perhaps the most advanced species in the galaxy, in the ways that truly matter. In compassion. In courage. In doing what is right. Even when it is difficult. Chen's expression became serious. Be careful, Captain. Some members of the council will not like hearing that. They prefer to think of us as simple children playing with dangerous toys. If they start to see us as a threat to their way of doing things, there could be trouble. Let them think what they want. Taeyang said firmly. I will tell the truth. That is all I can do. Chen smiled and extended her hand. Then tell it well, Captain Kim. Tell it so people understand. And maybe, just maybe, you will help change things. They shook hands. Then Chen added, if you ever find yourself in trouble again, Captain, remember this. Earth Alliance ships patrol the frontier regions on rotating schedules. If you send a distress signal, we will hear it. And we will come. Always. Always, Taeyang repeated. That is a powerful promise. It is the only promise that matters, Chen said. A few hours later, the Indomitable docked with Vega Prime Station. Taeyang and his crew gathered their few belongings and prepared to leave. The human crew lined up to say goodbye. They shook hands with each rescued crew member. Some hugged, some exchanged contact information. Bora was crying as she hugged one of the human engineers. Thank you, she kept saying. Thank you so much. Jiwoo was talking with the human chief engineer, discussing ship designs and engine technology. They were both smiling and gesturing excitedly. Hyorin stood with Sung Min, both of them looking at the Indomitable through the station windows. I will never forget this ship, Hyorin said quietly, or the people on it. Taeyang stood at the airlock, taking one last look at the human warship. It was still massive, still brutal looking, still covered in scars from 100 battles. But now he saw it differently. Now he saw it as beautiful, because it represented something pure, something good. Commander Chen walked him to the airlock. Safe travels, Captain Kim. May your voyages be peaceful and your cargo profitable. And may you always find those who need help, Taeyang replied. And may you always have the strength to give it. They shook hands one final time. Then Taeyang and his crew walked through the airlock onto the station. The station was busy and loud. Thousands of people moving through the corridors. Hundreds of species. The sounds of trade and commerce and life. But Taeyang and his crew were quiet as they walked. They were thinking about the humans. About the Indomitable. About Commander Chen and her crew. They found a viewing area and stopped to watch. The Indomitable was undocking, preparing to leave. The massive warship slowly pulled away from the station, its engines glowing bright blue. Where do you think they are going? Bora asked. Back to the frontier, Hyorin said. Back to the dark spaces where no one else goes. Back to answer the next distress call. They watched until the human ship jumped to faster than light, speed, and disappeared in a flash of light. The story of their rescue was already spreading through the station. People were talking about it in the bars and restaurants. The traders were discussing it in the market halls. The news services were broadcasting it across the sector. A human warship had answered a distress call in the dead zone, a region where even the Galactic Council feared to go. And they had not just rescued the crew. They had defeated 6 pirate ships in 3 minutes. Without breaking a sweat, without unnecessary killing, the story would spread farther. It would reach the council chambers on the capital worlds. It would reach the military academies. It would reach the trading guilds and the merchant fleets. And slowly, gradually, the galaxy's view of humanity would begin to change. People would start to understand. Humans were not primitive. They were principled. They were not backward. They were brave. They were not weak. They were warriors who chose to fight for those who could not fight for themselves. In the following weeks, Taeyang told his story many times. To his company, to his family, to journalists and news services, to anyone who would listen. And each time he told it, he made sure to emphasize one thing. The humans did not do it for glory. They did not do it for profit. They did not do it for recognition. They did it because it was right. Because when someone sends a distress signal, someone should answer. That simple philosophy was revolutionary in a galaxy grown old and cynical. The ancient species of the Council had forgotten what it meant to care. They had forgotten what it meant to sacrifice. They had forgotten what it meant to be good. But humanity remembered. Or perhaps they had never forgotten. Perhaps it was built into them. A core of iron principle that no amount of time could erode. Taeyang often thought about Commander Chen, about the Indomitable, about all the human crews patrolling the dark spaces between civilizations, answering distress calls, fighting pirates, saving lives. The Council called it a waste of resources. They said humanity should focus on building their economy, on developing their military, on playing the game of galactic politics, but humanity refused. They kept their patrol fleets in the frontier regions. They kept answering distress calls. They kept doing what they believed was right. And slowly others began to follow their example. Some smaller species, inspired by the human example, started their own rescue patrols. Some trading companies began equipping their ships with better life support, just in case they needed to help someone. It was a small change. A tiny shift in the way the galaxy worked, but it was a change. And it started with a single human warship answering a distress call in the darkness. Years later, when people asked Taeyang about the day his ship died, he always smiled. He told them about the humans, about the Indomitable, about Commander Chen and her promise, if you send a distress signal, we will come. Always. That promise changed everything, because it reminded the galaxy of something it had forgotten, that in the darkness of space, when everything seems lost, hope still exists. And sometimes hope arrives in the form of a scarred warship, crewed by a young species who refused to let the galaxy make them cold. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not with conquest or demands, not with threats or bribes, but with a simple philosophy. If someone needs help, someone should help them. And in a galaxy that had forgotten how to care, that was the most revolutionary idea of all. The end.